Today I'm going to make $100,000 in Internet Cafe Simulator without buying a computer. Instead I'm going to run the business through gambling, Bitcoin mining, and eventually create what I can only describe as a complete disaster, being made out of thousands of plastic chairs. Now every successful business starts with a memorable name, so naturally I'd call mine No Wi-Fi. Because if there's one thing people look for when they're visiting an internet cafe, is the complete absence of internet. So usually when people start this game, they'll clean the cafe, they'll buy a few computers and they'll serve customers and all. They'll slowly build a successful business that way. I'm not here to do any of that. Instead, what I'm here to do is make the greatest financial decision of my life. And it all starts at the casino. I have $2,000 to my name, enough to buy a couple of computers or enough to immediately develop a gambling addiction. So, I know what I'm gonna choose. And there we go, just like that, walking away with $4,600. We have actually done it. And I've spent more time in my casino than I have inside my own business. We're off to a fantastic start. Right, it's finally time to build the world's greatest internet cafe. Or sell literally the only furniture I own. Customers, they're on gonna slow me down. Computers, overrated. Comfort, optional. Money, that's all I cared about. So it was at this stage that I bought a Bitcoin mining license from a homeless man, which is a sentence I never thought I'd have to say. So on I headed over to buy my first Bitcoin miner, followed immediately by a graphics card and another and another. Turns out gambling is a fantastic investment strategy. Please don't quote me on that. So after setting them all up and selling the first time, I made just over $300. Okay, so while the magical money printer thing just does all the hard work, I suppose I'll clean the place, you know, maintain the illusion that I'm running a respectable business here. And bang, just like that, another couple $100. Honestly, I'm starting to wonder why anyone would bother serving customers in the first place. In an effort to get the tutorial off my screen, I ordered the cheapest setup possible. A computer, monitor, keyboard, mouse, and then I immediately sold all of it. Now the tutorial is happy, I'm happy, and we're back to owning exactly 0 computers. Which, considering this is an internet cafe, feels slightly problematic. Then the homeless man offered me $200 to beat up someone with a baseball bat. Now I'm not saying that violence solves every problem, but apparently it does pay surprisingly well. So after sitting around waiting for the magical printer machine, I was finally able to buy more Bitcoin miners and a couple of more graphics cards as well. At this point I'd completely forgotten I was supposed to be running an internet cafe. I'm somehow turned into a crypto investor with a side hustle in organised crime. So everything was going perfectly fine until the game decided to inform me that I didn't have enough entrepreneurial soul. I'm sorry, what? I've gambled my life savings, sold every piece of furniture I owned, bought Bitcoin mining equipment from homeless men, assaulted fake Vin Diesels with baseball bats, and somehow I'm not entrepreneurial enough. Apparently this game and I have very different definitions of what makes a successful businessman. But then I felt much better after I saw my favourite homeless man, and he asked me kindly to deliver him 3 baseball bats. So after cashing in on some Bitcoin I just farmed, I headed over to the store, I bought a backpack, I bought 3 baseball bats, and then I delivered it back to my favourite homeless man. So I decided to leave my Bitcoin miners running for a while, and when I came back I had made over $1,000 doing absolutely nothing. At this point my internet cafe wasn't even an internet cafe. Since gambling had already solved every single problem I've had so far, obviously I tried it again. This time I was gambling for entrepreneurial soul, because apparently the secret ingredient becoming a successful businessman is losing money in a casino. Because that didn't work, I decided to buy almost every CD this guy had and sell it back to him, all for the hopes of getting one entrepreneurial soul. What you mean? So I figured because that didn't work, why don't I decorate the house, give it a new makeover, fill the fridge, make the place look respectable. Surely now the game would recognise me as a true entrepreneur. No, apparently owning a nice house doesn't count either. So then I did what any responsible businessman would do, and I bet on a horse. And honestly, the horse was making more money than the actual internet cafe itself. So I started to think, what if I upgrade the cafe itself? I done the floors, the ceilings, the walls. I even added an extra room into the place. But still, no entrepreneurial soul. I upgraded the main computer case, sold more Bitcoin. I even found online slot machines and won over $3,000 on it, and still no entrepreneurial soul. I bought a new keyboard, mouse, chair and desk. Still nothing. Then I made what might have been the worst financial decision of the entire game. I bought a hot dog cart. Now I know what you're thinking, surely a hot dog business is a great investment. No, it wasn't. This thing looked like it has been abandoned for 20 years. I couldn't even buy a hot dog from it. I'm pretty sure I didn't buy a business, I just bought a rusty box on wheels. After that disaster, I added a kitchen, I added a toilet, I moved my Bitcoin miners around, and somehow after all this messing, I still don't have any entrepreneurial soul. So with all that frustration, I just had to go to sleep. But when I woke up, a completely new, different favourite homeless man appeared, and he looked at me and handed me $500 and then left. And then I found something that changed everything. The Cabin Cafe. And without a doubt, this was the second smartest purchase I made all game, right behind gambling away my startup money. So after upgrading the ceiling, the floors and the walls, it looks absolutely hideous and I am delighted. While my Bitcoin miners quietly printed money in the background, I bought my first cabin. When I walked over to admire my investment, I noticed something. Why is there a computer in here? I spent this entire challenge avoiding computers and somehow I accidentally bought one. So I bought another one. And then I checked the profits on my hot dog stand. And then I bought another cabin. And then I bought all of the cabins. Then I noticed that my new favourite homeless man was looking for me. When I went over, he casually asked me for $25,000. Huh? Then I decided to upgrade the rest of my internet cafe, so I purchased liquid soap, a urinal, a fridge, a toaster, some stairs, a coffee machine, an automatic sliding door, upstairs and the upstairs expansion. And finally, after all that, the internet cafe started to look impressive. It was lovely, fully upgraded, professionally decorated, a proper business that's completely useless. But then I noticed something was wrong. A brand new fridge had spawned in directly where my Bitcoin miners were sitting. And the miners had completely glitched through the floor. They were gone, vanished, straight into the void. At this point I thought my entire Bitcoin empire was finished. But somehow they were still making the exact same amount of money. So that's grand. Feeling like a proper CEO, I decided it was finally time to hire some workers because nothing says successful business like having an entire workforce for an internet cafe with no computers. Up until this point, I was creating the most backwards business model ever. I wasn't making money from customers, I wasn't selling anything, I wasn't even using a computer. I was making money from Bitcoin miners that are now lodged inside the floor. But eventually, the moment had arrived. I had finally achieved my goal. I opened my bag and there it was, $100,000. After hours of gambling, Bitcoin mining and making questionable deals with homeless businessmen, I finally had enough money. It was time to actually buy some computers. Time to turn this place into a real internet cafe. So there I was, on Zamazar, filling up my basket with 88 items and $91,000 worth of equipment. And then he arrived, the man on camelback, carrying my 88 items, my whole internet cafe on the back of his camel. So I'm gonna get going filling up this internet cafe and I'll show you all what it looks like right now. So here we are at the downstairs. We have 6 PCs set up over here. Couple of arcade machines over here. As we go upstairs here, you'll see we have some virtual reality setups. Arcade machines. Xboxes over here, PlayStations on this side. And somehow, after everything I had bought, I still had around $80,000 left, which meant there was only one thing left to do. Something that has been in the back of my mind all game. Something I could not ignore anymore. I needed plastic chairs. A lot of plastic chairs. So after spending $76,000 on 1,000 chairs, the camel had finally arrived. Let's see what this looks like. The boxes just wouldn't stop spawning in. They were exploding out in all sorts of directions and the NPCs were just walking right through them like they weren't even there. The boxes were everywhere. They were filling the street. They were covering buildings. They were taking over an entire area. I couldn't even see the ground anymore. At this point I wasn't running an internet cafe. I was managing a cardboard apocalypse. And somehow, instead of accepting defeat, I decided the only logical solution was to order even more chairs. While waiting on my second batch of 1,000 shares, I noticed that my favourite homeless man was looking for me again, and he actually gifted me with some sort of ray gun. At this point here, things were so chaotic. My FPS was in single digits. My computer was screaming for his life, and all I could see on my screen was a load of chairs and cardboard boxes. Then I thought to myself, 2,000 chairs is not enough, so I ordered another 500 chairs. And this is what 2,500 chairs looks like in Internet Cafe Simulator. So after somehow managing to enter back into my internet cafe through all the chairs, I ordered another 500, totaling us at 3,000 chairs altogether, costing a total of $228,000 for chairs. And here's what you all came to see: 3,000 chairs in Internet Cafe Simulator in 2026 before GTA 6. Let's go. So there you have it, everybody. My internet cafe, my masterpiece, my life's work destroyed by 3,000 chairs. I look around one last time. This place I spent hours building, the cafe I upgraded, the business I created, completely consumed by my own terrible decisions, aka chairs. So I did the only thing I could. I left. I escaped. I ran away from my creation because honestly, I don't think this is fixable. I started this game wanting to build an internet cafe. Instead, I became a Bitcoin millionaire, gambled my way to success, made questionable business deals with homeless entrepreneurs, and I built a fully functioning internet cafe, and then I destroyed everything with plastic chairs. So technically, I did achieve my goal. I made $100,000 without buying a single computer, and I also created the world's first plastic furniture apocalypse. If you enjoyed watching me ruin this perfectly good game, click that subscribe button, because honestly, I've no idea what I'm gonna do next either.